Oh, well, I've just...
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to At the Picnics number 20, Danny. Number 20. And this is our second program this week because we couldn't do one last week because you were a bit under the weather, but all good. And we were going to get the top jockey, Sean Cooper, on, but he stopped Jasmine Trenwith in this show. So good on you, Sean. We're still going to get you. You're not getting away. Welcome, Jasmine.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, our pleasure. Now, you only started riding January this year in the picnics, and you've already ridden 5 winners, one of them last weekend being the Swiss Creek Cup. That is a fantastic achievement, and congratulations.
No, thank you very much. No, it's been a fantastic start.
And you do track work at Mornington, which most people know. Did people like Sean and the other two stooges, Dylan and Henry, did they sort of get you involved? Is that how you ended up being a picnic jockey?
Sean, definitely. He rode down at Pinecliff with me for a while with Graham Begg, and seeing his success and how much he was enjoying it was definitely a little bit of an inspiration to give it a crack myself. And he got a lot of my questions early about it all. Not so much the other two. I've kind of just met them whilst being on the scene, but definitely Sean. For sure.
So you would say that Sean's a bit of a mentor for you?
In the early days, he definitely was a soundboard for my questions, just figuring out what weight I had to ride at and what the season kind of looked like, and what the lifestyle was kind of like. Everyone since I've been in the actual racing atmosphere has just been so supportive, and I've grabbed every bit of help I can get from everyone.
And I'm sure this lovely lady right here has helped you out as well. And have you sort of taken her under your wing, Danny?
Look, I try and steer whoever's floating about our rooms, hopefully in the right direction. So it wasn't a hell of a lot of help for me when I was starting, but I figure any help for getting going is a good way to go about it. And she certainly copped a bit of a riding chat on the way up for Gwenny Begg. Georgie and I had hatched a plan a little while ago that Gwenny was going to head up there, and we're looking to put a claimer on. So yeah, and she'll probably head to the Corinthian. So
fantastic. And does that mean in the Corinthian you're probably going to ride her, Jazz?
No, I've lost the seat on her. Lee Taylor will take a ride, but it's looking like I'll have a ride in the Corinthian anyway.
Oh, nice.
Ron Stevens, I think, is going to nominate Angel Toft, so
okay.
it looks like I'll get a ride in there.
Fantastic.
Beautiful.
Good on you. That is fantastic.
So for those who don't know much about your background, Jazz, you've got quite an extensive horse background anyway. Do you want to give us a bit of a run through of where you have been?
Yeah. No, I grew up in the pony club scene. I had ponies from a really young age, and grew up doing a bit of showing, and Mum had Friesian horses, so I spent a lot of time in the show ring with them in the breed classes. And when I kind of got to my teenage years, I wanted to do a little bit more jumping, going a little bit faster, which the Friesians can't do. So I had to beg and plead for my first thoroughbred, and which they were not happy about. But I ended up getting my first thoroughbred at about 15, and never looked back. The breed was that was the end for me. Since then, now the thoroughbreds are for me.
So I was lucky enough to hear a little bit about your background with it. Did you have a crack at any of the jousting or anything as well?
I did. Mum loved all of that with the Friesians, giving anything a go. So you'd often find me in some ridiculous costume, or doing some musical team number, or trying my hand at archery or jousting. I did do some ridiculous things on horseback, which was pretty incredible.
I'm astounded. Like I would have chopped off my left leg to try doing that stuff. I can't believe it. There's no way I'd be able to hold up a jousting thing now, but it always sort of sounded like such good fun. So
I remember about a year.
Medieval games.
I remember about a year ago. Now I was flicking around on Fox Sports, and they had this live jousting from South Australia. I thought, God, they're desperate to find something to put on. It is unbelievable. Like these big wooden sticks just snapping, hitting people. How do you do that, Jazz? You've got to be pretty brave.
Yeah, they're pretty heavy as well. We just did it was a weekend clinic that they put together, I think it was at Tatura, and it was just a weekend away that we did, and they had us going around an arena just aiming at this big wooden shield that you kind of would hit with the stick. You weren't running it at anyone else, but yeah, no, it was still good fun to bash around on the horses and give that a go.
Crazy.
Now, please also fill us in on the archery aspect on horseback.
Yeah. So they kind of just make up a little bit of a laneway, and you get your horse into. You got to be sitting on a fairly quiet one because you obviously don't have any control of your reins. You're holding a bow and arrow, but you get them just going around at whatever pace you want, walk, trot, or canter, and they have a bit of a dummy deer in the middle of the arena, and you just bowl around and have a crack at shooting it. Mum fell in love with it that much. She bought a bow and arrow for home to try and have a crack at as well. So we've still got one of those floating around.
I'm coming visiting.
We've got lots of fun things around there.
I'm coming to play.
Have to nickname her the Gladiator, Danny.
Absolutely. It was amazing listening to the stories because they were absolutely hysterical, and like the horses getting used to you doing those sorts of things on them as well. Yeah, I'm sure there were a few entertaining. You're cheating. That's water. What's going on there? There would have been a few entertaining spills, I'm sure, going on through the education process.
Nonetheless. Yeah, definitely.
Straight vodka, Danny.
Push.
I'm on holidays.
Yeah, true. So what other things have you enjoyed the most about getting in and riding track work, riding for the likes of Freedies and Graham Begg? You've probably seen a couple of nice horses, have you?
Yeah, so I mostly ride with Jim Conlon. He took me under his wing from the beginning. I've been with him since I started in racing. It's been an amazing journey down at Pinecliff. Jim's been nothing but supportive and helpful from the get-go, whether that was just getting me up track riding, and then when I kind of made the decision to become a jockey, he was right there with me, just helping me along. We've only got a really small team down there, generally only between half a dozen and a dozen horses. So, getting those jump outs and trial rides was a challenge, but Jim was very helpful along the way. And I do get to sit on some quality horses, which is good. Having a kind of boutique stable means that they get the proper training put into them, the proper work put into them. So it's lovely working with those horses.
What weight do you ride at, Jazz?
I can ride at the minimum weight at 60, but I kind of walk around at about 56, 57 kilos at the moment. Yeah.
So what are some of the highlights? Obviously a cup win and your first win for the season. Give us a run through your first win.
Yes, that was a board stirrup. I was supposed to start my season a bit earlier. I was hoping to be on board when the season was supposed to start back in October, but I got knocked back a couple of times and sent back to trials. So I was actually meant to be aboard stirrup when Henry won on him, and I lost that ride because I didn't get my ticket in time. So I was absolutely gutted when he had that win. Although happy for him, I was gutted. So when the ride came back up, I called Mark Stevenson's Jacko, and he put me on board, and it was a phenomenal day. Just to get that first win out of the way was enormous. I thought my first ride was going to be my first win as well. One of Jim's, we thought he was going to be a pretty handy horse. He ended up winning in his next start, but he was hopeless in that first race. I was going to say, you got him up eventually. Yeah, that was probably a highlight as well. Getting him on for the boss and getting that horse around. He really did his job.
Oh, well, you can't always get what you want. First ride, first win, not quite. But anyway.
No.
So what other little aims have you set up for yourself so far?
Definitely just to get more rides next season. I'd like to have a consistent kind of book happening. Finding the rides this season was really difficult. I think I had 13 starts in the end, and that was a struggle getting those. It takes hours of a Monday with nominations, calling around, and as you know, it's a tight-knit community and everyone's very loyal to each other, and that's amazing once you're in there, but weaseling your way in is difficult.
Yep, I can vouch for that. I even still now as a senior, some weeks I sit there and go, there's no point in ringing for these because people have already got their riders, so you just sort of wait and see what happens come Thursday and see who's on what. So have you got any plans for your off season? What are you up to?
A couple of plans. I'm doing doing a month in Japan. I've not really traveled that much. I'm kind of a workaholic, so I don't really get away or take any time off. But I've dedicated 3.5 weeks to Japan, and Jim's actually today just let us know that there's an opportunity to go to Queensland with a few horses, possibly in May and early June. So that might be something that I look forward to doing. Yeah, but other than that, not a lot.
So is Japan just a proper holiday, or is Japan somewhere that you're going to work while you're over there?
No, just an actual getaway. Yeah. No horses involved, which would be very strange. I don't think I've had a day without a horse my whole life, virtually.
Who's puppy sitting?
My sister will stay at my house, and she'll watch my dogs for me. They'll be running wild, I'm sure.
So apart from getting some more consistent rides in that next season, have you thought about maybe getting one of your own to play with, or anything like that?
Yeah, it's in the back of my mind. My family also quite interested in it. They followed me around all season, and they're now tossing up the idea of buying one and having one that they can watch go round. Not something we know a lot about yet, so will definitely be a bit of a learning curve that we look into shortly. Yeah, but definitely in the back of our mind.
You might have to hit the boss up and see if he's got a spare box.
Yeah, definitely. Surely.
Absolutely. I chewed your ear off the other day. So what else? So apart from the eventing and the jousting, and what else brings up your background, and what got you into doing all of this?
Into racing, really? Like desperation really got me there. I wasn't in racing. I had no interest in racing prior to being in it. I actually was studying music at uni, with aims to be in a band and be a singer and whatnot. So I got my degree in music and kind of finished that, and was just working in cafes and doing gigs and whatnot, and wasn't getting paid very well. And then a job came up on Facebook just for, it was very minimal work. I think it was only 2 hours a morning as a stable hand in Mount Eliza. And I thought, oh, well, 2 hours work, 2 hours pay is better than nothing. And it ended up being the gig that I have now, that's kind of grown into a lot more than 2 hours. And fell in love with it virtually immediately. And yeah, no, it's been great.
How did you find the adjustment going from ground crew to track crew and riding, and changing your riding from pony club into racing?
Oh, it was a hell of a learning curve, that's for sure. I didn't spend much time on the ground. Virtually my first day, I called Jim and said, look, I've got no experience doing track work, but I've ridden horses for a long time. I've ridden thoroughbreds. I'm willing to do a trial if you'll give me a go. And yeah, virtually from day one, he put me on board and on the quiet ones, and I was sitting on the quiet ones and getting dropped by the quiet ones. So it was definitely a learning curve.
Jazz, what secondary school did you go to?
I went to Flinders Christian Community College.
Good school.
Yeah,
And
down in Carrum Downs.
Did any of the teachers there, careers teachers, say, look, you can get a career in the horse riding industry? Was that ever brought up?
Not at all. It was something that I looked poorly upon the school for. Like, I mean, it was a private school, and I did my Cert 2 in equine studies there, which was something that I still had to find myself, and there was no real support through that. And no, not one mention of racing or of any horse really related career. In my mind, I was going to be a vet, because that was the only way that I could touch a horse and have an income. Like, really, that was what was in my mind. But whilst I'm smart, I was never vet smart, and the idea of 7+ years of uni was never particularly appealing. But yeah, found my way around eventually.
The reason why I asked that question is, it seems to be a lot that careers teachers in secondary schools don't help out students that want to get into the industry. And I'm going to use my wife as an example here. There's a gentleman, when she was teaching at Mount Erin Secondary College, that came up and said, Miss, I don't know what to do. She said, what are your hobbies? He said, oh, I really like horses. So she made a couple of phone calls, got this young fella job and ended up becoming an apprentice jockey, and his name Vlad Jurek. And more recently, when she was at Casey Grammar here in Cranbourne, a young fella came in and didn't know what he wanted to do. And she said, you know, I've helped a couple of young fellas out before. Your dad's into racing, but into greyhound racing. Have you thought about, you're pretty small, have you thought about being a jockey? Helped him out. And of course, that's one and only Ben Thompson. So if any teachers are ever watching this program, maybe ask that question, because there's plenty of people out there that are willing to give people a go on the racing industry, as you would know, Danny.
Yeah, it's amazing. And there's always been such a stigma about working in racing. You know, it's a mug's game and you don't have to be smart to work in it. But I'm not sure whether I have to be too smart to get out of bed to go and do something that I like doing every day. As Jazz can attest to, she's got a ripping view at her work sitting on the back of a horse. And there's not many mornings that really beat a good sunrise when you're sitting on one. And I still, to this day, if you get on a good gallop and you're bowling down the straight, doing whatever you're doing and going as quick as whatever you're going, there's nothing really that beats it.
Definitely.
Yeah. And even if it's not you winning the race or you riding the horse race day that gets up, if you've done a lot of work with a horse and it gets over the line, doesn't matter whether it's a sale maiden or a 0 to 58 at Warwick and Beale or something in town. Obviously the prize money's different, but the feeling's not any different. It's pretty amazing. So it's definitely something I think that possibly needs a little bit more of a push. And I'm not really sure why we only have so few apprentices taken. I'm a washed up apprentice. Grant Seckham went through the apprenticeship program as well. Weight and those sorts of things didn't work for us, but we've stayed within the industry. We've ridden work, and I think sometimes those of us that don't necessarily make it through the pro ranks for whatever reason, we still could be quite well utilised within the industry. And there's such a shortage of trackwork riders and stable hands and stuff. I just think it's a real shame that it's not something that's looked into further.
Very well said, Danny. And for people like me that were always too fat to be a jockey, nothing better than watching a race on the couch with a wooden spoon as the whip, and you're pretending to ride the horse that you're on, and it's good fun.
Absolutely. It's very entertaining for your puppy dogs too.
They just look at me and go, "Oh God, he's watching the races again." Jazz, you said you ride at 57. So do you think you could possibly, without doing it too hard, drop 2-3 kilos to be a professional jockey?
Yeah, it was something that my plan was originally always to do the picnics and see how I liked it and see how I liked the lifestyle and the race riding, and then move my way into the professionals if I thought that was a path that I wanted to do. I applied for the apprenticeship last year just with the view of going through the selection process and seeing what that was about. And I was told by everyone, expect to be knocked back your first year and come back your second year kind of bigger and better. And I got through the selection process a little bit easier than I thought I would, and ended up having to choose between doing the picnics and the apprenticeship, and still wanted to do the picnics first. So the lowest I could kind of get my weight down to was about 54, and that was a little bit of a struggle. So I'm not sure how willing I am to be spending my life wasting. We'll see how that kind of goes in the future. I didn't reapply for this year, but I'll see how I feel this year and have another crack at the picnics, and possibly next year we'll see how we go.
Good on you. Now I've just heard back from one of the Three Stooges. I have got something on you.
Oh, Lord.
Quote, she's boring, mate. Unquote.
Oh, good.
In other words, they've got nothing on you.
They've got nothing. That's the quote.
They haven't seen me on a Saturday night out then. That's good.
Picnic Awards night's coming up soon. Look out.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I know what I would do if I was you, Jazz. The next time you see me at Trackwork, just walk past me and say, "I'm not talking to you. I'm boring."
I love it. Good.
Damn it, we don't have anything, Danny.
Nah, that's not a bad thing. It's all right. She hasn't been around long enough yet for us to find anything.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that's okay. That's
That's
okay.
great.
Mind you, I don't know that I'd like to upset her too badly. She could
No.
chase you with a bow and arrow or belt you over the head with a jousting.
Especially after she's had a few drinks. I think that could be a real worry. Or she'll set her dogs on you.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, my golden retrievers, they're terrifying.
I'm not sure that her dogs would partake in that. I don't even know that they'd be like mine and look the part.
What are they?
No,
They
they
look
do
like they
not.
might. I think Jazzes would wag their tails off their backsides before they attacked anybody.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Now, Jazz, very important question. Who do you barrack for on the footy?
I'm not a footy supporter, actually.
Okay.
My family's Melbourne. my family's they follow Melbourne a little bit, but but I myself don't particularly follow it very much.
Is there any sport you follow?
No, not really. No. I kind of have my head buried in racing most of the time.
Fair enough.
Well,
Fair
let's
enough.
can always ask her what her favourite band is. She studied music.
Mm.
Yeah,
Didn't
no.
like it that much at the end of the course, but hey.
Yeah, I definitely got to the end, but no, I love my theatre and I love my music, I must say. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
There's an instrument there behind you, Jazz. What is that?
Oh, it's just a baby cello. It's more of a decorative
thought it was a
piece,
cello.
but yeah,
Awesome.
it is a cello.
Can you play us something now?
No, that one doesn't even work. I think it's only got 3 strings and I don't even have a bow, but no, just a decorative piece, that one.
We've got 7 minutes left, Danny.
Well, you've disappointed him with the footy. You haven't got
Sorry.
an instrument out to play with, and he's got no dirt on him. So, yeah. All right, yeah, I'll get you with one because I know you can cook. You've told me you can cook, so spill the dirt. What's your best?
My mum would say I make a good gnocchi. I do I worked in a cafe that made the world's best like creamy chicken gnocchi, and the chef at the time spilled the beans on that recipe, and I've replicated that ever since. So that comes out on many occasions, I must say.
Oh,
Nice.
Beautiful.
Nice.
Yeah.
When are you making that? We'll come around for dinner.
Yeah.
So you don't follow footy. He hasn't pulled Chris out yet, so you're a little bit
Oh,
safe.
he's waiting.
Yeah.
Chris, oh yeah.
I've been waiting because she is single at the moment.
Oh, that's what he's getting all excited about. He's
Watch out!
breathing.
He'll be coming for your creamy chicken gnocchi too.
He's invited anytime. Don't worry.
He's
Doors open.
He's getting a bit antsy over here, Danny. He wants to get on.
Oh God help us! All right, next question: beer, wine, or spirits?
It depends on the night.
That's a good answer.
Favorite movie?
Favorite movie? Oh golly, probably Fantastic Mr. Fox. That's a good one.
Oh, brilliant. So if you like the theatre and you've obviously been a little bit, what's your favourite sort of stuff to watch at the theatre?
Oh gosh, what have I seen recently? Hamilton's probably a good one. It's kind of like a more of a hip hop rap musical that kind of went big recently. Probably one of the more recent shows that I've seen, and that was very good. Yeah.
Yep, cool. I'm waiting for him to bombard us with his friend.
Oh, can he come in now?
Well,
I've
he's
been
invited.
waiting for it.
There he is.
There he is, handsome as ever.
Sounds like you've been looking forward to having a chat with Chris Jazz. No, he's.
It's funny because the boss was mentioning today about Byron Bay, and I said that's where Chris Hemsworth lives. Send me.
He's. It's near the end of the picnic season, so I'm kicking him out. I've had enough of him. I don't feed him anymore. He just goes out in the backyard and fossics around for snails.
Away to a shadow.
Yeah. So
sideways, you might not see him.
You're a single lady. Can he come round for dinner?
Oh yeah, any day of the week.
Oh,
yeah.
Can he stay there?
Of course, yeah.
Oh, we found him a home, Danny. Yeah, he's coming. He's actually coming to the Corinthian, right? And I'm going to be up there for dinner. Very lucky to get a seat up there. And I'm going to put him out on the balcony. So when the Corinthian's running, you'll be able to see him up on the balcony. God knows what people are going to think. And I'll have to speak to the manager, Chris Pym at Cranbourne, who looks after the coterie people. I'll have to let him know I'm bringing in this
Oh,
thing.
for sure. I'll be buying him a
So,
drink.
all right. So we'll bring him there, and then you can take him home. All right. I've had enough. He's just.
Giving him away now.
I am giving him away. I've got someone very special lined up for next season, Danny. A lifelike
Is
picture
that
of
right?
someone. Yep.
Right.
All
Okay.
right. So we'll look. That's if we do have a next season. Speaking
They
of
all
that,
might get sick of us by then and kick us off.
I think they will. We're going to be back next Thursday, Danny, because we're going to go through and talk about the Corinthian
We'll go through
field.
the Corinthian. Yeah.
We'll still have a
crack at that. We'll
still
wrap
have
all the rest of the season up as well.
We will, and we'll still have a special guest on, and we'll probably call that quits for the season, unless you want to have one after the Corinthian.
I don't know. I don't know whether anybody really needs to be tortured by us for the rest of the year, do they?
We'll call next week the final show of the season, and of course we'll be back for next season.
And just a quick footnote: Caitlin and Grant are both mending, and mending quite well.
Good on.
But they will be on the sidelines for a little while longer yet. Grant's been out and about with the kids and the family and so forth because of school holidays, so that's their bonus.
Yes.
And yeah, Caitlin's moved into a new house and getting all of that set up, and probably driving Marlon mad by now with having this much time on hand. So we wish them all the best for their recovery as well.
She found out just recently too that it wasn't just a finger. She's got some tendon issues in her elbow. So it's going to be a lot more time to recover for her. So good luck to her. They'll be back next season, no doubt. Jasmine,
Absolutely.
thank you so much. Pleasure having you on.
No, thank you guys. Thank you very much. It's been great.
Catch up with you soon.
And,
yeah, definitely.
We'll be back next Thursday, and we probably won't see you until next Friday. So good luck in the Corinthian, Jazz.
Thank you very much.
Danny,
and if you're not right, come over anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Definitely.
We'll set you up with a photo with Chris.
I reckon all the jockeys should get in with Chris. You know that picture you always take, Danny, before the race? Surely Chris has got a photo bomb.
Yeah, Chris has got to be in there.
We'll line one up for him.
We'll take it one for the professional photo, and then one after I'll slip Chris in there. How's that?
And we can pin that up in your background. So
I love it. That sounds fantastic. All right, we'll do it. All right. Thanks to Fran from Picnic Bet. She always looks after us every week by putting this up on her Facebook site. She won't be there for Corinthian, but she said she will be down for the Racing Awards night. So we're looking forward to catching up with Fran then. You'll be there too, Jazz, no doubt.
Try and get some photos on the phones and so we can upload them for the Corinthian. Just want to say also a quick thank you to everybody who has been tormented and taken the time to have a yak with us through the season, and also to Bodie for coming back and tormenting me.
Yep.
Have a good and safe off season, everybody. Take care, look after yourselves, and we'll catch you later.
Catch you next Thursday night.
I'll see you then.
All right. See you, Jazz. See you guys.
See ya.
Thank you.
Guys.
See ya. Bye.